I'm just back from the Carnival Mardi Gras, which has 19 eateries on board, more than any other carnival vessel out there. Consequently, 19 is also about how much pounds I gained on this ship, because y'all, there's so many venues from front to back, side to side, all over the Mardi Gras for you to eat. So I'm gonna break it down a little bit. All the venues, all 19, or at least the 12 that I was able to dine at during my time. Now, there's so many dining venues on the Carnival Mardi Gras that I found it hard to eat at all of them. I actually had a spreadsheet before the cruise started that listed where I wanted to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner each day of the cruise, and I still didn't make it to all those places. That's right, there are so many venues, so many new venues on this ship that it's gonna keep you busy eating the entire time. So, my goal here on this video is to inform you a little bit about all these venues and to sort of review the ones that I did eat at and let you know, is it worth eating at? Should you skip it? What are my honest thoughts? Now, this isn't sponsored by the cruise line at all. These are just my opinions. I was a paying customer on this ship, and I want you to be the best informed so that you can plan accordingly for your sailing on board the Carnival Mardi Gras. Now, of course, the Mardi Gras is the first ship in the Carnival Excel class of ships. It's unlike anything Carnival Cruise Line has ever done before. And because of this, there were a lot of new eateries that Carnival's never offered on any other vessels before. Now, I expect we'll see a lot of these continued in newer build of Carnival ships, specifically the Carnival Celebration, which will be the immediate sister ship to the Mardi Gras. And the Celebration will debut in 2022, late 2022. So I'm going to rank from worst to best the restaurants on board the Carnival Mardi Gras that I was able to dine at, and also rate those experiences as well and let you know what I thought of each of the dining locations that I dined at during my 7 days on board the Carnival Mardi Gras. So let's get right into that. Banging its way in at number 12 is one of the new places that I was actually very disappointed in, because Carnival announced this a couple of weeks before the sailing. Shebang. Shebang was supposed to be, and it is, this Chinese meets Mexican sort of eatery. It's supposed to offer a very unique dining experience, and I was so excited and had such high hopes for Shebang, so much so, it was the first place I wanted to eat for dinner on the Mardi Gras, and I ate there on the first evening, and folks, I was so disappointed with Shebang. What's going on, Carnival? What is happening? What is Shebang supposed to be? I was expecting something along the lines of Gigi's Asian, which is on a lot of the newer build Carnival ships. It was nothing like that. Perhaps that was my own fault that I went in there with high expectations. But what I got was something that was attempting to be a number of things and really was not much of anything at all. This was a far cry from authentic Mexican or authentic Chinese cuisine. I had, for starters, the egg drop soup, and this was more akin to a chicken noodle soup. It had mushrooms in it. It had carrots in it. It had all sorts of other vegetables in it. It had chicken in it. No, that's not egg drop soup, y'all. For my entree at Shebang, I actually had beef with broccoli. Now, typically this is served with soy sauce, and not on the Carnival Mardi Gras, not at Shebang. This was some sort of a sweet sauce on the beef, some sort of a cinnamon sauce. The beef itself was just lukewarm to almost cold, so that just really threw me off. I didn't like that. I got some Diablo shrimp, which you would expect to be hot. It was not hot. That was supposed to be one of their Mexican plates. So did not like that. The only thing I actually liked was the pork belly, which is not as good as the pork belly you get at Gigi's, but it was okay. The dessert, I got the tres leches, which is one of my favorite desserts. However, they tried to do something fancy and shebang it up a little bit. That didn't work either. The cream that was on that cake was not good. So my official rating for Shebang, I ranked it at number 12 because there were 12 restaurants and dining locations that I experienced on the Mardi Gras. It's the worst of those, but I'm gonna rate it a 4 out of 10 stars. I would pass on Shebang, y'all. Coming in at number 11 is a venue that we know, we love. It's on every Carnival ship. I'm talking about the Lido Marketplace. Now, I didn't dine here too much. Of course, the virus has been ongoing. I didn't want to go somewhere everyone's been touching everything. So I didn't go here much. I did go, however, and get some of the cakes that they have during lunchtime. They have delicious cakes. They actually serve those to you. I also got some of those wonderful cookies. So Lido is a little far down my list at number 11 because I didn't really experience any of the other food offerings that they have in there. However, I did appreciate all the additional seating. They have so much seating now in the Lido area. Of course, you would expect there to be plentiful seating on a ship that holds 6,000 at maximum occupancy. But the seating was so well done, I felt like it was a very nice place to sit and have some meals. I actually brought food from other venues into the Lido and had meals there. I also enjoyed the new touchless drink dispensers that they offer now in the Lido, as well as the self-serve soda machines that they have in there also. So Lido comes in at number 11 on my ranking of venues to eat on Mardi Gras, and I'm going to rate it at a 5 out of a 10. It's just too soon for me to be going back to the buffet, y'all. Rolling in at number 10 is Pizzeria del Capitano. Now, I only ate here once. I'm not a big pizza guy on a cruise. Shocker, I know. I eat everything else, though, so that makes up for it. But I only went here once for dinner one evening. I went here and got fresh pizza. They had just taken it out of the oven. It was hot. The pizza was super melty. The cheese, it had pepperoni. There was no lines when I went. However, I did walk by there at other times of day, specifically lunch times and late night. I was by there at 2 o'clock one morning and the line was incredibly long. So expect that you might have long waits, but that's the same on Pizza Pirate on Carnival ships and other Pizzeria del Capitanos all across the Carnival fleet. But I will rate the Pizzeria del Capitano on Mardi Gras a solid 6 out of a 10. Number 9. Number 9 is another one that I really couldn't wait to try. I've heard so many good things about it. The guy's Pig Anchor Smokehouse is currently, I think, on the Horizon, the Panorama, and now the Mardi Gras. It is a pay restaurant on the Horizon and Panorama. With Mardi Gras, like Shebang, they were like, hey, it's going to be complimentary, it's going to be free. However, it's not free like what you might think. Like, I'm going to go in there and get everything that's on the menu on those other ships. On this ship, it's going to be free. No, their menu has been adjusted to be free, folks. It's not the same quality food, I don't think, that you're going to get if you went and paid on those other ships. I was not happy with Guys, and I rank it so low on my list because the first night I went there, the service was absolutely terrible. I waited about 20 minutes once I was seated. No one came to my table to take drink order, to take food order, to ask if I needed a menu or anything. So I got up and left. I actually went back later on the cruise, did get some food, but found that the quantity of food that I got was very small. The portions of the meat that you get are very tiny. And to me, it tasted like the meat that you get if you go there for lunch. They do serve lunch outside on a little buffet. I think every day of the cruise or maybe just on sea days. But at any rate, there's nothing special or really worth noting about Guy's Pig and Anchor for dinner. Now, I did pay $14 additional to get the prime rib. This is a smoked prime rib that they do. But however, I found it to just be sort of cold. It wasn't that great. And I didn't really think that was worth $14 extra. So I would say skip. If you have other places on the Mardi Gras you want to try, I would definitely say skip Guy's Pig and Anchor. And I'm only going to rate it a 5 out of a 10. Sorry, it didn't do it for me. Go for lunch and do something else for dinner. Hitting the streets at number 8 is Street Eats. Now, this is a new dining location exclusive to the Carnival Mardi Gras. You've never seen this before on any Carnival ship, and I actually like this. Of course, there were 3 stations. One was the home-style fries. The other one had steamed goods, and then a third one, I think, had more grilled items. But at any rate, there are 3 locations. This sort of reminded me a little bit of the Taste Bar, which Carnival used to have, where they'd actually just give you appetizers from some of their specialty restaurants. You would just walk up and take them. These are small plates that you're getting. It's not a large meal that you get. But each day they have something different. So there's a large variety of foods that you can get from Street Eats. It changes every day of the cruise. I only got to make it there one day of the cruise, but I had some from the home-style fries location. I had some buffalo chicken tater tots, which were delicious. I don't remember the name of the other stuff I had, I think from the grilled portion. But the food was so good. It was hot. It was served very timely. I mean, I walked up and someone just handed me one. So it's really a take, grab and go sort of place that changes the food each day. So I'm going to rate Street Eats an 8 out of a 10. And I'm going to give a kudos to Carnival for this addition to the Lido deck because it does provide a variety of food options, which is much needed on the Lido. It's not just hamburgers and burritos all day. Now there's Street Eats with different food offerings every day. Coming in at number 7 on my list, we've almost made it halfway up the list as we're ranking these from worst to best. Number 7 is the main dining room. Now, early on in the cruise, I was reading a lot of comments from folks posting on our cruise Facebook group that service was so slow in the main dining room. The food was cold. It just wasn't there. So on the last night of the cruise, this shows you how many dining venues there are on the Mardi Gras. It took me until the last night of the cruise to make it to the main dining room. And I wasn't expecting much, y'all. I had read so many comments. I have had experiences in the main dining room on other Carnival ships before that I was like, this is just going to be whatever, but I'm going to eat here so I can review it for my audience, you folks at home. Y'all, I was pleasantly surprised. I had anytime dining and I went right up to the table. Of course, now they're using the Hub app to make reservations and stuff, but I had a technical glitch that night and wasn't actually able to check in for a table, so went right up to the booth there at the front of the Flamingo restaurant, and they seated me immediately. There were very few folks in the main dining room. It was the last night of the cruise, so maybe that explains some of that. But the service was nothing like what I had expected. I expected it to be slow, to have to keep asking for things. However, it was very prompt service. It was very good service. They got me exactly what I needed when I asked for it in very quick manner. In addition to that, the food was good. I've typically experienced on Carnival cruises in the past, when you eat in the main dining room, you're going to get very lukewarm food, maybe sometimes even cold. It's going to taste like it came from, a cafeteria style restaurant somewhere. However, the food was very warm, the food was hot, and the food was good. So I'm going to rate the main dining room on Carnival Mardi Gras a 7 out of 10. And I can't believe I just said that. I'll also say here that I think what Carnival's doing with these new complimentary eateries, like with Shebang, like with Cucina del Capitano, like with Guy's Pig Anchor Smokehouse, I think they're essentially creating rotational dining without saying that they've created rotational dining. You might be asking, what's rotational dining? Well, on some of the other cruise lines, Disney does this. I think Royal Caribbean does it on some of their larger ships. They have so many people on the cruise, they've created other dining rooms that are essentially your main dining room for the night. So instead of going to the main dining room every night and getting your meal, you might go there one night, the next night you go to the second main dining room, the third to the third dining room, so on and so forth. And I think that's what Carnival has essentially done on the Carnival Mardi Gras, at having Cucina, Shebang, and Guy's Pig and Anchor complimentary. In fact, all throughout the cruise, they were telling folks, if you have any time dining or your time dining, you can go to these complimentary eateries. You don't have to go to the main dining room. Go check these out. And after the first or second night that they announced that, you actually started to see the lines for Cucina, for Shebang, get longer and longer each night. So Carnival has essentially created rotational dining and creating these complimentary eateries. Now, Carnival sort of made it sound like they're only going to have these complimentary for the inaugural season, but I'll be willing to bet you that we're going to see these remain free on Carnival Mardi Gras and all the Excel class ships as they continue to come out. So moving on to number 6. Number 6 is a trusty favorite that's on a lot of Carnival ships. I know folks love it. I love it. It's the BlueIguana Cantina. And folks, I didn't even get to eat there for lunch. Like I said, there's so many eateries on Mardi Gras, but I did get there for breakfast. For one of the best breakfast items, I think, that Carnival has on any of their ships, which is the breakfast burrito. You walk up and they essentially put whatever you want in that burrito. It's kind of like going to a Chipotle or something similar to that. They put hash browns, there's eggs, there's sausage, there's all these wonderful goodness that they put into that burrito, and it is amazing. I loved it. The folks are always so friendly there. I'm sad I didn't get to make it back for lunch to get some of those tacos, burritos, and other things that they offer, but I'm going to give BlueIguana Cantina an 8 out of 10 on the Carnival Mardi Gras. Thumbs up to those guys. I can't wait to get my next breakfast burrito. Well, speaking of trusty favorites, coming in at number 5 on my list is Guy's Burger Joint. Who doesn't love Guy's Burger Joint? It's a Carnival classic at this point. They started premiering on Carnival ships with the Fun 2.0 upgrades, which started around 2012 or 2013, I think. And ever since then, everyone loves Guy's. Everyone flocks there on embarkation day, unless you're on the Carnival Mardi Gras, because there's so many other places to eat. And this time there was even more. It wasn't just the burgers for lunch. They now have breakfast offerings, and breakfast ends at 10, which I thought was a little early to be ending. I mean, it's a sea day. I'm probably going to be still in the bed at 9:30, so I had to rush to get there by 10 on one of the sea days where I actually tried the breakfast burger. Now, the breakfast burger was really good. It was essentially the hamburger or the cheeseburger that you could get during lunchtime. However, it now had an egg on it. It had like a hash brown patty on it. It was very good, but I do wish that they would have sort of like more of a croissant bun maybe with a sausage patty, an egg, and maybe that hash brown patty, and that would be a good breakfast burger. But at any rate, it was all good. Guys, can't say anything negative about it. I did like that on the Carnival Mardi Gras, it's at a much larger venue. They've expanded Guy's Burger. They put it up on deck 17, just a deck up from the main Lido deck, to give folks more room. There's a larger room for seating. There's more room for a line. So folks aren't taking up space all over the Lido deck in line to get a Guy's Burger. I really enjoyed the space that they put it in. And got to give Guy's Burger a solid 9 out of 10. All right, now we're getting into the top 4 of the list, and coming in at number 4 is Cucina del Capitano. Again, another one of those complimentary eateries on the Mardi Gras. This location, though, for Cucina was huge. It took up a lot of space on the Mardi Gras, which helped me in my hypothesis that Carnival is using these locations as alternative dining rooms and will continue to do so throughout the course of the Mardi Gras life. Now, like the main dining room, I had heard things earlier in the week from folks about Cucina that it was terrible, that the food was cold, that the service was slow. However, I went there, I think 3 or 4 days in, on the night of that we were in San Juan. I think that was the 3rd or 4th day of the cruise. And it was fantastic. This was my first time going to Cucina. I'd never been to a Cucina del Capitano on any of Carnival's other ships where they have it. Of course, it's an additional pay on those ships. I think it's like $15 to $20 per person. But it was so good, y'all. The service was a little bit slow, a little bit slower than I would have preferred, but the food was piping hot. I had the Nana's meatballs. This is funny. It was called the Nana's meatballs, plural. And for the appetizer, they brought me a single meatball. So, not really what they're advertising on their menu, but it was good. For my main, I had the chicken parmesan, and this was a piece of chicken with parmesan cheese and marinara, just like you would expect. That was very good. And then for my desserts, I had the maple fritter and also had some apple cobbler. Everything at Cucina was very, very good. And in fact, Cucina is one of the locations on the Mardi Gras that now serves breakfast. Now, this is sort of an abbreviated breakfast menu than what they serve, I think, in the main dining room. But I did make it on disembarkation morning. I was like, I gotta go to Cucina for breakfast. I went all the way through the cruise and not made it to Cucina for breakfast. So I went there on the last morning, and oh my goodness, you guys, don't miss breakfast in Cucina del Capitano because it was amazing. They have the best French toast. It comes with a caramelized banana. Y'all, I ate that first plate of it, and I said, hey, can you bring me another? And they brought me 2 plates of it because it was that good. So please don't miss out on breakfast in Cucina del Capitano. And don't miss out on dinner there either because it was so good. And that's why I'm giving it an 8 out of a 10 rating. Coming in at number 3 is another dining location of Carnival's that we're all familiar with because it's been on several of their ships. And I'm talking about Fahrenheit 555. Of course, I mentioned in one of my vlogs that it's amazing how Carnival started with just one specialty restaurant on a handful of their ships, that being the Steakhouse, and it had, I think, varying names, or maybe it was just called the Steakhouse back then, years ago, and now look at all the specialty restaurants that they've slowly built into their ships all across the fleet. It's amazing. It all started with the Steakhouse. Y'all, the Steakhouse is always good. I can't say anything bad about the Steakhouse. It's $38 per person. Delicious food. It's about a 2-hour experience, but it is upscale dining, and I think it's made to be longer. So the service wasn't slow. They took very good care of me. They take a lot of pride in the steaks that they make. There's so many different options for your food there. They have steak, they have chicken, they have lobster, they have surf and turf. So much good food at the Steakhouse. You can't go wrong with it. I can't say anything bad about it. It was so good. It was nice to eat at the new location on Carnival Mardi Gras. It's a beautiful restaurant, so make sure you check it out. I'm going to give it a 9 out of a 10 rating. All right, top 2. Are y'all excited to see what's number 1 and number 2? Well, let's get into it. Number 2 on my list, I'm so excited that Carnival has made this addition to their fleet. Folks, I've always thought they need some seafood on their ships. Before you go down in the comments and say they have the seafood shack, I know it's extra for pay. It's on Lido. They had it on this ship. That's fine. I've never tried it because it is additional. I wanted a dinner location for seafood, and now we finally have it with Rudy's, Seagrill, and whoa, this location, Rudy's, is some of the best food that I've ever eaten on a Carnival ship, certainly, and probably on any cruise ship. I was so amazed at how good the food was. The service was incredible also. I went on the second night of the cruise. That was the first elegant evening, and it was so good. Immediately after getting done with my food, I tried to make a reservation for later in the cruise, and they were booked up. The food is so good. I had the lobster mac and cheese as a starter. That was delicious. That's the best mac and cheese I've ever had. And it had big chunks of lobster in it too. And then also had some fried calamari. That was okay. I found that fried calamari to be a little bland. It didn't have enough seasoning on it, but it was still Very, very good. You get really good portions in there. I got the surf and turf for my main, a really, really tender filet. I actually was cutting it with my fork, and it also came with one lobster tail, and that was such good lobster. So much different from the lobster that you're getting in the main dining room on Elegant Night. You know, I always make fun of it and say you're dressing up to go eat lobster, but you really do want to dress up on the Mardi Gras to go eat lobster and go eat it at Rudy's because it's so good. I wasn't as into the dessert. I got the white chocolate bread pudding, and that was just okay. But hey, it didn't dampen my experience at all because I absolutely love Rudy's. I'm so excited that it has made its way to the Carnival Mardi Gras. It's a great venue. Rudi Soderman himself was there back in the kitchen. He came out several times and came over and said hello. So he was on that first sailing back in there cooking the food for the guests. I'm giving it a solid 9 out of a 10 rating. All right, so number 1 on my list, hands down, folks, there's no competition. I can't say anything but wow. I was wowed by this. Probably the most anticipated place that I wanted to eat on this cruise, and it did not let me down at all. Number 1 on my list, the best food you can get on the Carnival Mardi Gras, coming soon to the Carnival Radiance, is Shaq's Big Chicken. Wow. Those chicken sandwiches are so good. They have 3 or 4 different ones that you can choose from. The chicken is hot. The chicken is juicy. The fries are some of the best fries I've eaten ever, anywhere. They're very thin and crispy. You can ask for extra and they'll give you a whole bowl of them. And they have a whole assortment of different sauces. Shaq sauce, Memphis barbecue, barbecue ranch. They also have some potato salad that is fantastic. And the best potato salad I've ever had on a ship. But that's just lunch, folks. They also have breakfast. I'm talking about honey glazed chicken biscuits. They also have, I think, a sausage, egg, and cheese. But I went in there one day and was like, hey, put me a slab of chicken, some of that honey chicken, some egg, some cheese on a biscuit, and that was amazing. So you really can have them make the chicken sandwiches or the chicken biscuits any way you want it there, but wow. I can't do it justice in words by telling you. You're just gonna have to go check it out for yourself. It was so good that at least for the first 3 days of the cruise, I ate there at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. I had breakfast and lunch there. I'm normally a Guy's Burger person on a Carnival cruise, meaning that I'll go to Guy's Burger at least once a day and get a burger. I only went to Guy's once during this cruise for lunch and got a burger. And I went once for breakfast. Other than that, if I wanted lunch, I was at Shaq's. So I'm giving it a perfect 10 out of a 10 because it is a perfect venue. I'm so glad it's on Carnival ships, and I can't wait to see it expanded. I know it's coming to the Carnival Radiance. It's going to be on Carnival Celebration. I hope that they start adding it to more and more Carnival ships. Folks, book the Mardi Gras just for Shaq's Big Chicken and leave those other venues alone because it's worth it, I promise you. So that's my top 12. Those are the places that I dined at. I did want to give an honorable mention, though, to Java Blue. Now, Java Blue is not a place where you'd go and sit down and have a meal, and they don't have a lot of food, but they do have on the Mardi Gras a larger assortment of food. They do have breakfast sandwiches now. They do have cupcakes. They have danishes. They have donuts. I didn't try any of the food, but I did go and get coffee there quite often, and they were so helpful. There was always a long line, but it's always very good. So I'm going to give that honorable mention. I can't actually rank it because I don't know what the food situation was like. Also at this Java Blue, they also have a new grab-and-go section where they pre-make sandwiches and salads. They'll be in the little like room service containers, and you can just walk up and take them back to your room. And I saw a lot of folks in the elevators with them, and they would be like, I wake up at 2 o'clock so hungry, I'm taking this back for later. So they got you set up for that late night dining craving when you don't want to go get pizza or call in room service. So definitely check out some of the assortment of food that they have at Java Blue now, and definitely get you one of those white chocolate frappuccinos because that stuff is really, really good. And I got, I think, about one a day, so that definitely contributed to my cruise weight gain. You need to make your dining reservations as early as you can. There are some locations, Rudy's, the Steakhouse, and Chef's Table Experience, that you can book right now. If you're booked on a cruise on the Mardi Gras, you should be able to go into your cruise manager right now and book those specialty restaurants for the night and time of your choice, whatever's available. Book those as soon as you can. Now, I waited until I got on the ship before I booked any specialty restaurants because I had onboard credit that I wanted to use toward the price of the meal. Because if you book your specialty dining before you get on board, you do have to pay up front and you can't use onboard credit. So when I got on board and got on the ship's Wi-Fi, I immediately, first thing I did, went to the Hub app to make my dining reservations. They've expanded the Hub app now on Mardi Gras, and I think some of the other ships, so that you can reserve tables and you can check in for tables ahead of time. But you can also book the specialty restaurants. And folks, you want to do this. You want to make reservations as soon as you get on board the ship. It's very important you do this. The specialty restaurants fill up very quickly. And I heard from several folks who said, I wanted to eat at Rudy's and I couldn't get a reservation, or I couldn't get a reservation for the Steakhouse. If you want to go to one of the specialty dining locations, you need to make your reservation as soon as you can. So if it's any one of those three that I mentioned, go on your cruise manager, make it now. If not, as soon as you get on board, open up the Hub app, make your reservation so that you make sure that you're going to get a reservation for those dining locations. Make your reservations on embarkation day. It's very important. There's a lot of folks on the Mardi Gras, up to 6,000 people, 6,500, something like that. Make your reservations early. Eat at Rudy's. Eat at Shaq's Big Chicken. You don't need a reservation for that. Eat at that every day. Most importantly, enjoy the Carnival Mardi Gras. There's so much food on that ship. I've never seen so much food and dining options on a cruise ship before. So enjoy it. Have fun. It's your vacation. And don't care how much weight you're gaining. You know, calories don't count on a cruise. Worry about that when you get home. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and informative. If you did, please go down below. Give me a thumbs up. Check that you're subscribed to my channel. If you're not, I invite you to please hit that subscribe button now. We have a lot of cruise adventures to come. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure.